Generations are appearing every 15 years, once the old generation does not seem to fit the same stigma as the past. A generation, for instance, is defined as a group of people born within a certain period of time whose shared age and experiences shape themselves. Particularly, Generation Zs are born after 1995 until the present day, those of which are the most technologically, socially, and globally connected. The emphasis of social media and popular culture reign heavy on the generation, those of which resemble our future. This generation seem to be much more progressive in their religious, sexual, and social views. They are seen to be a group of hard-working individuals due to the recession and activism prevailing high on the communities. They are the first generation to remember a time without smartphones or social media. They live in an increasingly multiracial and multicultural world, so it is safe to say that they are going to be the major influencers of today's society, anywhere from language, ideas, and culture. On the other hand, millennials consist of people who reached young adulthood around 2000. They overtook the baby boomers to be the largest living generation. They are less likely to take part in marriage, religion, and political parties since the views are progressing away from traditions. Millennials grew up in a technologically developing world, in which social networks such as MySpace and Facebook were only introduced. Although they are familiar with the internet, they oftentimes have trouble correlating on how to do some of the new social media networks such as Snapchat or Twitter. Slang is a great deal of what popular culture is, and one that is evolving constantly. Specifically, Gen Z slang is one that is an enigma to millennials since the new phrases have completely different meanings. Phrases such as "let's get this bread" and "tea" would confuse a millennial, but a Gen Z would have no problem telling you what the meaning of it is.
Do you know the term, "that's the tea, sis"? No. That's the tea, sis. That's like letting you know that's what's going on, my sister.
From a functionalist perspective, slang has a profound function in today's youthful society with phrases and symbols that we can organize ourselves to identify with one another. The interactionist perspective is also just as important because it's the interactions between a group of people or society that brings about the phrases that the youth is saying nowadays. Those in different socioeconomic stages are all able to come together and understand that the slang that is said is all the same, regardless of the differences in the personal life. Slang refers to words or phrases that constantly changes with time and renews the language, expressing the attitudes and cultures of the groups that use them. Had language not evolved, the world would still be speaking in Old English, and many movies and popular culture may have not been created. The evolution of slang from the millennial period to current times is large, but not drastic that the millennials are not able to catch on to the words that are said by today's youth. Many of the millennials have children in the Gen Z era, so they familiarize themselves with the phrases of today. However, the phrases that millennials say are not as common said with the new generation, such as YOLO or BAE, are instead replaced with weird flex but okay.
Hey Sophie, weird flex but okay. What? Sophie, weird flex but okay. Oh.
Or lit.
Yeah, it's good. Like dope.
You know what dope means?
I know what dope.
Mom, you smoke that dope?
No, I don't smoke it. But I know it's lit.
In context, the phrases can be deduced to their meaning, but when said alone, a millennial may give raised eyebrows of confusion instead of knowing how to properly use the phrase in a sentence. Gen Z slang appears in many forms that are typically influenced by celebrities or other social media influencers, such as Cardi B and James Charles. Cardi B's famous line, "Oh, krrr," appeared on Jimmy Fallon's The Tonight Show.
No. You know, it's like a cold pigeon in New York City.
Okay, well, yeah, so...
You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody checks somebody,
Oh, yeah.
it's like,
Some of which the Kardashian family took to humor and blew up the slogan even more. Also, YouTube is a widely popular platform for the young, upcoming generation since it has a range of videos for all children and trusts these influencers more than the celebrities. One YouTuber that rose to fame fairly quickly is 19-year-old makeup guru James Charles. His videos are filled with interesting makeup looks as well as his vocabulary is that one many are familiar with.
Sister Sweet, Sister Shelter, Sister Sanctuary, the Sister Sense, Sister Spooky, the Sister Stealing, Sister
His loose, everyday sayings have blown up the community that watches his videos as well as other influencers.
God, wait, that's Sister Scary.
Have you ever had your eyebrows done before?
I'm Sister...
Sobbing. You're so bad at this.
Can you say hi, sisters? Hi, sisters.
Did you sister drop out? I have a question about sister scandals.
Okay.
And like a little sister intimidated.
That doesn't work.
His phrases all start with a sister and a sister synonym with alliteration, according to a Twitter.
Sister Stop, Sister Stressful, Sister Sense, Sister Sparkle, Sister Spreads, Sister Mukbang.
As ridiculous as the phrases sound, it has helped him build his empire called Sister's Apparel, and reinforcing that saying sister must have a small connection back to James Charles. These two instances are only a slim part of how influencers are, in fact, trendsetters for the informal language that has been developing in the young generation. In fact, the world is changing with the addition of these words to society, as well as to the Oxford Dictionary. Almost anywhere in the world, a person knows what a selfie is and has a unanimous response of the front-facing camera that takes a photo. The word selfie emerged from Australia when drunk mates joined together to take a selfie. That was internationally recognized as Word of the Year, according to The Guardian. From this, selfie sticks emerged in that people from China, India, and many other countries are obsessed with taking these photos with silly faces. The slang terms that are now used are universally accepted and many times leads to a larger production, such as clothing companies or selfie sticks. Clearly, the choice of our words shifts how society is viewed from there on out. Particularly, the functionalist and interactionist theories help support the rise of Gen Z slang, since there has been an increasing amount of language appearing in the past 5 years than any other time. A functionalist would deduce that slang benefits society achieve social order because it gives the youth a common ground on how to express themselves. Slang is a way for individuals to advance their identity and remain up to date with the current times. It prevails to resemble how a piece of pop culture is now a thought of the ordinary people, and it is not an academically driven thought. Millennials are now their parents, aunts, uncles, or bosses, and it is oftentimes to relate to one another. Similarly, the interactionist perspective supports the young lingo because the interactions between Gen Z and millennials aids in bringing out how society is able to coexist and benefit from one another.
I would think it would mean like fart or something. It sounds like a bad word. Is it? It means, like for sure?
I would say it's like an emphasis on seriously, like dead ass, this is the best meal I've ever had.
It has the word ass in it. How is that good?
These terms cannot be widely accepted or recited without the interactions between individuals, which allows them to spread the word and change the language.
Sister Schlong, Sister Package, Sister Pictures, Sister Stop.
Much like a domino effect, an interactionist believes that it is the communication between people that creates a larger effect, because each person will go tell their friends and family, and the slang is passed on in such a way. Likewise, to a Venn diagram, the jargon used by the two different generations has overlap that consists of the two interacting with one another, but there are still many phrases and words that the generation would understand but the other would not. Therefore, these social interactions between generations are crucial to maintaining and developing society. All in all, the popular culture of Generation Z slang is one that is an anomaly to millennials, but due to their interactions and functions, they are able to advance society in one that is beneficial for future generations. There are many differences between the two generations, but are still able to catch on and keep up with the new youth. Slang is one that has evolved from a century ago and will continue to alter as the youth gains inspiration from other platforms and influencers as they rise.